Hello and welcome to the final My Tunes podcast of 2022. And there's an extra bit as well with my very special guest this week.
Marc, Tyley, the nation station, Manx Radio.
In the Isle of Man, somewhere along the line, you will bump into, if not one, or two, or three Adrian Cowins. One day they're all going to be on this show, but we're going to start with the musical one, not the weather one, and there's another one as well. Adrian Cowin, who has been in no short order, once Annie, and last week down in Peel with the Pantaloons. Adrian, welcome to My Tunes.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's good to have you along. When we were chatting earlier, you said you picked up the guitar quite early when you were a teen.
Yeah, I started trying to play when I was younger, but it was harder in them days because you didn't have YouTube or anything. You were just learning from books. Harder to teach yourself to play guitar. Picking it up again later in life, there's lots of YouTube tutorials you can follow and find any tabs for whatever you want nowadays.
I was going to say, it's much easier now. Certainly when I was learning as a youngster, which is long before you, we used to have to get the record player on and try and copy the record player and put the needle back and do it again, or tape. And that was it. As you say, nothing on there. No YouTube, nothing at all. Did you start like on acoustic?
Originally had an electric guitar, but I've still got one, but I can't play it. So I just play acoustic mostly.
And when did the sort of drama come into your life?
It was only within the last 2 years. I'd been singing, doing open mics, and then I started doing singer lessons with Mandy Griffin. And I was doing the Arts Hub Choir with Danielle Brideson, and I was seeing lots of people from that and from Mandy's lessons going off and doing various musicals. And one day I just asked her, how'd you get to do that? And she said, go for an audition. And the auditions for Annie were coming up, so I went and did that and got in.
That's a great show to do. That's a brilliant show. I mean, a lot of us, I think, would have first of all encountered it as a movie and then stage shows later on. So obviously you enjoyed doing that.
I didn't know what to expect going into my first show, and I was fortunate enough to have a couple of speaking parts and get into the ensemble as well. So lots of songs, lots of dancing, and then some speaking as well, which, I didn't know whether I could remember lines or even act, and it was a good opportunity.
When you first stepped onto the Gaiety stage with an audience in, what was your feeling? Can you remember that feeling?
Yeah, I thought I'd be more nervous because when I thought about doing theatre, I'd previously done the Guild and open mics and things, and I'd sit in the theatre and watch a show. I'd think that would be the scariest thing you could ever do. And the more you do, like doing the Guild and things, you get a bit braver and more confident every time you do something. So I thought, right, I'm ready to do a show. But when I actually did it, it wasn't nervous at all because you'd done so many rehearsals and there's just so many other people on stage, whereas if you get up with a guitar and it's just you, everything's on you. If you make a mistake, you're more nervous of that, and being well rehearsed is the key to not being nervous.
And I think a lot of people don't realise, if they're not involved behind the scenes or even on stage, they have no idea just how much rehearsal goes into putting on a show like Annie.
It's months and months. It's like, I think with that one it was 4 or 5 months of rehearsals, 2 nights a week, and then it goes up to 3, and there's with an off-island director, when he comes over, it could be 5, 6, 7 days a week.
And we sit in the audience for a couple of hours and think, oh, that was great. And you've been working at it for all that time.
Yeah, and you rehearse in church halls. Some people think you rehearse on the Gaiety stage. You only get in like a few days before the show, and you only meet the orchestra like a week before the show. So by the time you're doing the show, you've probably played with the orchestra 2 or 3 times.
And that's it. And on you go.
Yep.
And on you go. Let's have your first choice of music. I'm liking this very much, Adrian.
Okay, so when I was young, I lived in the Waterville Hotel in Glenmay, so most of my introduction to music came through the jukebox. So I know lots of songs, and I don't know the names of the songs or the artists, but one song I remember being played on the jukebox all the time was Wildflower by the Cult, and the guitar riffs and when the drums kick in was amazing. And years later, my friends were all getting into The Cure, so I went to Shocks to buy a Cure album, but I came out with the Electric album by the Cult and went on to buy all their albums. But the song I want to play is Lil Devil. Just love the sound of it, especially the guitar riffs and the drums.
Adrian Cowin is my guest this week on My Tunes. Which one, I hear you scream at the radio? Adrian Cowin, the actor, the singer, the guitarist, the IT person, not the weatherman, but there's another one, Adrian. Are there three on the island that you know?
There's a lecturer at the college called Adrian Cowin,
Yeah.
and I've been told there was another one because I rang up Manx Telecom and the lady laughed, and she said, sorry I'm laughing, but my boss is called Adrian Cowin,
So there's another one.
at least.
Unbelievable. What were those parents doing all those years ago? Now, yesterday we had the cult. Oh, my goodness. Love that to pieces. I'm really looking forward to today's choice. I'm going to save talking about Once until the end of the week because I know you've chosen the track from it. I know it was a hugely important show for you and for everybody involved, and for all of us who went to see it, it was jaw-dropping. There's no two ways about it. It was a sensational pull together of talent, of the whole scenery, everything. But we'll talk about that on Thursday. Today, I want to talk about your job. IT. The whole world is driven by computers. Is it something that you got into early on, or did you go into it later?
I always liked computers when I was younger, but didn't start working in IT. I went to college to do art, and then went to uni and did glass and ceramics, and then came back and started various temping jobs. But I always seemed to be the one in the office that people would come to with, if they had a computer question. So then I did get a job with an IT company, and then a friend who had an IT job asked me to be his assistant. So I started as that, and then he left and I became the IT manager, and I've been there 21 years now, the same company.
Wow. Give them a plug.
It's called Aston International. It's a small CSP, family run. So it's
CSP?
corporate service
Thank
provider.
you. Just check it. Just showing my ignorance. Go on. But, I've said there, computers. Even if you don't use one regularly yourself, your world doesn't work without them now.
No, everything relies on technology nowadays.
You can't do anything. And even when you think you're not interacting with the computer, you might be.
You've got your phone in your hand all the time, and that's a computer, isn't it?
Yeah. Where's it going? Where's all this going? Because I know there's been a new chat bot. I was interested to hear in the reports about that. But it's more like Alexa, but it's sort of more complicated than that. No one seemed to be able to explain how it worked. But it was like Google and Alexa all woven into one. Where's this all going, Adrian?
You'll probably find that instead of going to see your GP one day, you'll speak to an AI type, Alexa type program that you tell it everything that's wrong with you, and the algorithms will probably come back with what's wrong with you.
Already, I know Apple Watches and other products can liaise with the health services. They can measure all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, they've got blood oxygen and heart rate monitors and all sorts in nowadays.
I'm always scared of them. I tell you why. When I went to see 2001 the very first time, and Hal didn't want to open the doors, and Hal was getting a bit stroppy, I thought, this is where it's going. This, and then Terminator, and then all of it. So I'm just naturally slightly wary of them when they get very clever.
Yeah.
When they get very clever, I'm a bit worried. Now then, we are going to have a live track in a moment from a band, sadly, I wish I had. I never got to see them. What has drawn you to Thin Lizzy?
Well, when I was a teenager, I lived in a pub in Laxey, and I started going to pubs to watch bands. And I remember being in total awe of guitarist Kev Cleater, and I started listening to music like Gary Moore and Thin Lizzy. And a lady who worked in the pub with us brought this album in for me one day. She bought one for somebody, and they already had it. And it was the Live and Dangerous album by Thin Lizzy, and I just loved the artwork on it, and I loved the production of the live music. And I could have chosen any of the songs off this album, but I went for Still in Love with You. Comes after some of the heavier tracks on the album, so it brings a nice calm feeling, and I just love the guitar playing in harmony and Phil's lyrics.
Here it is. Thin Lizzy from Live and Dangerous. Other versions are available, but you won't hear them here. Still in Love with You.
find something else to do. This sadness, it never ceases. Oh, I'm still in love with you. And my head, it keeps on reloading. It's got me in a crazy spin. Oh, darling, 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 is this the end? I'm still in love with you. You know, some people out there are saying time has its way of healing. It can dry all the tears from your eyes. Oh, but darling, they don't tell you about this empty feeling. You know I can't disguise it. After all that we've been through, I try my best, but it's no use. Ooh, I'm gonna keep on loving you. Is this the end? Still in love with you. And now that it's all over, woman, that's something I think you should know. And maybe because my baby, she had a baby by me, she might think it over one more time before she goes. Call on me, baby, if there's anything I could do for you. Call on me, baby.
Today, with my guest on My Tunes, Adrian Cowin, it's panto time. Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, yes, it is. Well, it's not, because it's finished. But you were, was it King Richard? Prince Richard?
Prince Richard.
Prince Richard in the Pantaloons production in Peel.
Snow White and Seven Dwarfs.
And a marvellous thing it was as well. Congratulations to you and everybody. When did you sign up for that?
I was still in rehearsals for once, and my colleague Victoria, who I sit next to at work, she's been involved in the Peel Pantaloons for many years, and she knew I'd done a few shows at this stage, so she was telling me that, as usual with these things, they don't have enough men auditioning. So I went along and actually auditioned for the Dame, because I thought that'd be a fun thing to do, but then
yes.
I got the role as Prince Richard.
Wonderful. It's a great bunch, and the Peel Pantaloons, as you said, they've got a lot of history, and a fabulous bunch. A good team.
Yeah, it's great. I watched them a few times because my colleague was in it, so I've probably seen 4 of their shows. So now to be doing rehearsals and actually now doing the show with the people I recognise, from doing those shows is it's a bit surreal, but I'm getting to know them. It's a good laugh.
Very different atmosphere from the Gaiety. Very, very up close and personal in the Centenary.
It is. You'd think the Gaiety would be more nerve-wracking because it's 800 capacity venue, and you think, it's only 250 or something in the Peel Centenary Centre, but as you say, they're much closer. It's much more intimate, and you can hear them and see them some of the time, so it's a bit more nerve-wracking. And the director came to see once, and she said I had a song, a duet to do with Sarah Elder, and she said, we came to see you once, would you play the guitar for your song? So I'm playing the guitar in the panto. I've not seen that before.
No, it's well, we're going to talk so much about Once tomorrow, because I think it was a turning point for you, actually.
Definitely, yeah.
We'll come on to that tomorrow. Would you do a panto again?
Yeah, I've got something in mind to do for next year, so I don't think I'll do it next year, but I'll consider doing it again. It's good fun.
I haven't done panto for years, but I always used to think there was so much fun, and the audience, if you get a good audience and they're working with you, because they've got to join in, haven't they? If they just sit there and do nothing, it's not good, but you want them to spark up. Yeah,
that's the fun of panto, and even if it goes a bit wrong, the audience, they love that. They just heckle you and join in, and I think they love the interaction that you get, which you don't normally get say on the Gaiety in a normal musical, but in panto it's all about interacting with the audience.
Totally. Well done all of you. Peel Pantaloons, it finished just last week. This is a wonderful track. Tell me why you've chosen this from Crowded House.
Well, in 1996 I went travelling around the world, and I arrived in Australia, and on the day of Crowded House's farewell concert, it was on the steps of the Sydney Opera House, and we got there in the morning and we were drinking, and then the jet lag hit me and I just had to leave, and I wasn't sure who Crowded House were anyway, but then the concert was on TV a few weeks later and I knew loads of the songs, and it was a massive regret that I'd missed the concert. And I'm a huge Crowded House fan now, and I play many of their songs in my set, and this song is called Don't Dream It's Over. So when things are tough, you can think of that in 2 ways. Don't dream it's over, or kind of don't dream that it's over, which is more optimistic, as in don't give up on hopes or your dreams.
Well, let's go for the second option. It's nearly Christmas. We'll go for the second option.
Yeah.
There's a battle ahead, many battles are lost, but you'll never see the end of the road while you're traveling with me. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come to build a wall between us. We know they won't win. Now I'm towing my car. possession to cause a mass suspicion, but there's no proof. In the paper today, tales of war and waste, but you turn right over to the TV page. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come to build a wall between us. We know they won't win. Now I'm walking again to the beat of a drum, and I'm counting the steps to the door of your heart. Only shadows ahead, barely clearing the roof. Get to know the feeling of liberation and release. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come to build a wall between us. No, they won't win. But don't let them win. Hey now, don't let them win. Don't let them win.
Yesterday, with my guest on iTunes, Adrian Cowin, not the weatherman, not the other one. Other Adrian Cowins are available. And Mr. Weatherman is going to be on here in the new year. He doesn't know it yet. Don't tell him. Don't tell him, Adrian. We mentioned once a couple of times. Honestly, whenever I talk to anybody who's been remotely involved in it, I just say thank you, because it was one of the finest things I've ever seen on stage ever. It was magical, and all of you came together to deliver something so special. Did it feel as special for you as it did for us, the audience?
It did. Once we got it on stage and we saw the reaction from the audience, we knew it was something special. When we started doing it and rehearsing, it was a bit of a risk. We were thinking some people have seen the film, people might not have heard of the musical, and we weren't sure how well it would go down. And it was such a difficult thing to do. You know, even weeks before we actually put it on stage, there was still songs we hadn't, the harmony a cappella version of Gold, we hadn't practiced that very much. There were still things that were just coming together at the very end. And by the time we got it on stage and we got the audience in and we got standing ovation on the first show, we were like, this is special. The audience have got it. And then the tickets started selling and some people kept coming back. One guy came 5 times to watch it.
Well, I'm not surprised. I'm seriously not surprised. And you're right, the standing ovation, I haven't obviously been to every show since the Gaiety Open. Nobody has. 100 odd years. But it was such a quick standing ovation. Boom, everyone was up. Every night, every afternoon, bang, on their feet.
It took us by surprise because some shows you get a week in the theatre to get everything ready and do your tech rehearsals. With Once, we only had a few days. So the first chance we got to do a full run dress rehearsal was on the Wednesday afternoon, and the first show was in the Wednesday evening. So things were still coming together. So by the time we did the first show, and it went really well, and we got the standing ovation, it was amazing. And then every show after that was standing ovations as well. I think people have told us that it felt very intimate show and felt you shouldn't really be applauding or interrupting during the show. So by the time you come to the end of the show, this release came and everyone just shot up and applauded.
It did feel like that. And for you and for everybody, it was such a different way of being. You were the band, you were the actors, you were the singers. There was nobody in the pit. You all played your instruments on stage. As a confidence-boosting thing, that must have been amazing.
I've always lacked confidence and self-belief, and it's with doing singing lessons, going in the guild, and now starting to do theatre that my confidence is starting to grow. But doing something as big as Once, where I knew it was going to be a challenge, as soon as I got cast, I started learning my lines, because I could do that months in advance, because I knew the music was going to be the difficult part of it. I think I had about 20 songs to learn, and they might have just been some of the transition music. It might only be a few bars long, or it might have been a full song, and some of it I just couldn't even get the strumming pattern, and people were sending me videos of how to do it. But you just keep plugging away at it, and once you learn one thing, you're like, oh, I couldn't even play that last week. And it just, your self-belief and your ability improves, and by the time the show happened, I could play the bits I needed to play, and knew my lines and everything. So it was such a feeling of satisfaction, and from having a lack of confidence to be able to do that show and come out the other end of it, I do feel it was good for me.
Wow, it was amazing. And I'm so glad it was done here on the Isle of Man. We're going to have to finish the week with a track from it. Incidentally, dear listener, there's a bit more on the podcast, so come back later today, because Adrian's going to be choosing a Christmas song for us on the podcast only. But for now, thank you for joining me on My Tunes. What are we going to have from Once?
Well, there's so many great songs in Once, but one of the ones that I really enjoyed was when Grania, who hadn't played piano before, she learnt to play piano for her role. She played this song called The Hill, and it's one of the ones that most of us weren't involved in, so we could be off stage and just take in the emotion of that music. And then she had Kelly and Kira playing violins on it as well, and that just took it to the next level. It was just a beautiful song.
We'll have that now. We'll come back to the podcast. As I say, Christmas track on that. But for now, Adrian, thank you.
Thank you very much.
that you're sleeping. I'm with the man I know. I'm sitting here weeping while the hours pass so slow. And I know that in the morning I'll have to let you go, and you'll be just a man once I used to know. For these past few days, someone I don't recognize. This isn't all my fault. When will you realize? Looking at you leaving, I'm looking for a sign.
I told you, come back for the podcast, because there's an extra slice. There's a bit more with my Tunes guest, Adrian Cowin, and you've done just that. Thank you, dear listener, and you won't be disappointed. Oh, you know what, I could talk about Once with everybody, forever. I've had so many guests who were involved in it, Adrian, and it's just, I don't know what it was. It was the combination of people, it was the whole setting, it was having an Irish pub in the middle of the gate. It was everything, but it was magical. Christmas is a-coming. And there are a whole load of Christmas tunes. Some of them are wonderful, and some of them are probably best left in a box and never played ever again. And I've asked you to choose just one, but where have you gone for it?
I've gone for a song that I just remember from my childhood. My father died when I was only 22, so this song brings back memories of this when, as a kid, I didn't know it was an anti-war song. I just enjoyed singing the dubba-dubba-dum-dums and the bells and the brass. And I just remember I've got memories of being in the Waterfall Hotel and singing this song with my dad. It's Stop the Cavalry by John Louis.
Just before we play it, so your parents in hospitality for a lot of their time?
My mum ran the Waterfall Hotel in
Yeah.
Glenmay when I was growing up.
Yeah.
She made it very popular with the food that she'd served.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, it's not open now, is it?
No, it's
Gone.
a shame. It's
Gone.
They're trying to knock it down, aren't they?
Oh, dreadful. And then you said you moved to Laxey for a while.
Yeah, we moved to the Queen's Hotel in Laxey when
Yeah.
I was a teenager.
Well, look, Adrian, thanks for a cracking week on My Tunes. Can you just, before, seeing as we're on the podcast now, and we've got the elite listeners now, more drama coming up?
Yeah, a few of us from the Pantaloons are going to do a murder mystery at the Regency Hotel at some point, and then I'm hoping to audition for Elf. That's a centre stage one next year. So I'm hoping to do that.
That'll be great. I love the movie. It'll be a great show.
It should be fun. At my age, there's only so many roles you can go for, but there's at least 3 in that I could probably go for.
Well, we'll look forward to that. Adrian, thanks again. Let's have Jonah Louis. And Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas to you.
Hey, Mr. Churchill comes over here to say we're doing splendidly. But it's very cold out here in the snow, marching to and from the enemy. Oh, I say it's tough, I have had enough. Can you stop the cavalry? Say, oh yes, yet again, can you stop the cavalry? Mary Bradley, wait
waits at home in the nuclear fallout zone. Wish I could be dancing now in the arms of the girl I love. Wish I was at home for Christmas. Bang, that's another bomb on another town while Luzar and Jim have tea. If I get home, lift up till the tail, I'll run for all presidencies. If I get elected, I will stop the cavalry. Wish I was at home for Christmas. Wish I could be dancing now in the arms of the girl I love. Mary Bradley waits at home. She's been waiting 2 years long. Wish I was at home for Christmas.
Thanks to Adrian Cowin for being my last MyTunes guest of 2022. And guess what? There's another Adrian Cowin who's going to start the year 2023 on MyTunes. I'm Marc Tyley. Thanks for your company over the year. Here's to a cracking new year. And thanks for dropping by for the podcast section of manxradio.com.